Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. So suddenly it's almost winter. It's very cold. I don't know where this came from. So I'm sure everyone will be getting sick now and worried about it not being just a cold. So that's going to be fun. Hope everyone is doing well where you are. Oh, let's see here. I'm zoomed in a little too much. There we go. There we go. But it's good to be back for another week. Yeah, just the time just keeps ticking by. We were finally able to meet in person for both a game of Frostgrave, you might have seen on the other channel's stream, and then also we finished the Call of Cthulhu, one of the starter set adventures. So that was fun. It was fun to actually do things in person, and those sessions are so much nicer because you can talk over each other and still understand what's going on. When you're online and you talk over each other, or there's some cutout, people lose, the complete meaning of what you're saying, or they lose context, or it's a lot harder to keep track of a group of people. They still haven't figured that out yet. I'm sure everyone that's had to deal with that with their work or school or whatever knows that you just have to wait to talk, and there has to be a little bit of silence, and then you can say something, and then you hope that your internet gets all of the audio across so that you don't cut off. Yeah, it's not comfortable. And plus then if you do it online, it's too convenient, and then people do it too late. So I've had some online sessions that have gone till 2 or 3 in the morning, and you're barely you're barely awake by then. What's going on here? There we go. But back again. Oh, and I found they're pretty easy to find in any convenience store, but there's all usually a lot of awful flavors, like egg salad and strange meats and things. But I found a peanut butter, one of those Yamazaki peanut butter sandwiches. So I'll show you what that looks like. I think I might have done one of those, but it's been a few years. So I'll give you another look at the wonderful little pocket sandwiches that they make here, and be amazed at the things that they can include that don't need refrigerated for some reason. We'll never know why that is. Alright, I think everything is going. I should double check. Sorry. Yep, everything's running great. So if this is the first time you've stumbled upon this, I do this live stream every week where I draw 2 cartoons, 2 single panel gag cartoons for the series Domestic Abuse. And the archive of that is on gocomics.com. So gocomics.com/domestic, domestic abuse. Yeah, domestic abuse. Everything else is abuse cartoons. Just because I was on YouTube or Twitch, I was worried I would get a lot of people think it was like charity for battered women or things like that. So I tried to change it to something that was obviously about a cartoon. But which has happened a few times on Facebook, because I set up a Facebook page for this cartoon, and sometimes I get people joining because they support anything, any women's charities, but I don't have the heart to tell them it's just a stupid cartoon. I think they figure it out pretty quick, though. And sorry if the keyboard's too loud. I've got the microphone kind of close to the keyboard, so I'll try to be a little quieter. Yeah, I wonder if it's worth getting a non-mechanical keyboard just so it's quieter on stream. Yeah, I used to have conference calls in the US with someone that I think their microphone was just sitting on the table on a little stand right next for Skype calls, right next to their keyboard. And they had a really old mechanical keyboard. And it sounded like something from the 1940s. It sounded like a 1940s typewriter when they were doing things. So anytime they had to search or look something up online or preview a website or whatever, it was horrible. The sound of it was so horrible. Just everything was set up completely wrong. I mean, they didn't care. It wasn't even an office. It was just their house, their PC in their house. But they had the microphone on the table, and it was just, the keyboard was louder than anything, and almost so that it hurt your ears. So you couldn't use headphones for those calls because those things would come up and really terrorize your hearing. But it went very well with that person's personality because their thinking was from the 1940s too. They were designing apps, but their thinking was way way behind the times. Yeah, I love that. When I was reading those stories about the Amazon gaming department, like how Amazon gaming was trying to do things, it sounded like their management was doing the same thing. Like, oh, that's popular, isn't it? The Match 4, that's really popular. Let's do a Match 4 game. It's like, what, 5 years ago that was something people might pay attention to, or 10 years ago. But they would just have people doing stuff based on what a current trend was. But by the time something's a trend, you can't chase it, especially with online gaming and things. Unless it has iterations, or unless you iterate. That's the thing. If you, this is popular, but what about this twist on it? Or what about combining these mechanics or whatever? If you don't do that sort of thing, there's just no point. And it sounded like that's what Amazon was doing at the very beginning. So, yeah, because they just shut down a lot of their, either never finished or shut down their early projects just because I think someone told them, do this. And I'm like, okay. That was my experience too with game development and app development. Is that the money people had really, really dated ideas. I mean, I can't believe how many times Flappy Bird came up in conversations, and it had been like 10 years or something since Flappy Bird was a thing. That guy made a lot of money. Maybe we should do something like that. That was, yeah, it was hard to explain. Because Mario came up and Flappy Bird came up all the time. And it was just hard to explain, like, the level of, Nintendo is kind of based on, tweaking the feel of their controls, to perfection, on having a high level of polish. And that's a big part of their success, kind of the creativity, but also the level of polish on everything that they do, and proprietary. Everything being proprietary. But it's really hard to explain that. It's like, it's just not worked out quite yet. Like controls on a cell phone or a smartphone, it's just not there yet. You can't do the sorts of things you can do on a console or a PC. It's just not working even near as well as it needs to. And that was impossible to explain. So then it became an obsession with innovating game control, because it was, GCI was one of the iterations. So game control innovations, they're trying to patent some angle-based control scheme, like some gyroscope kind of gyroscopic detection. Wow, those were the days. I'm so glad that's over with. Jeez. Yeah, and it was impossible to guess like what the next like weird obsession was going to be. I can't imagine Like, because I was doing that from, you know, remotely, so I had a buffer. But I can't imagine if you're in an office dealing with that sort of thing, where your days are just these unpredictable, just a bunch of nonsense. But I guess you get numb to it, and you just, all right, and then just punch a clock. And unfortunately, I couldn't do that. So that makes it a little harder, because you can just be, okay, whatever, and then spit stuff out. Because working a little closer, even though there's distance, you're working a little closer as far as when you iterate things, the turnaround can be pretty quick. And you're doing these iterations of these different designs or whatever. We get a lot faster feedback, just the way that we were working. So yeah, that was you don't have to have like committee meetings every time, because it was a small group. But yeah, that's painful. Those are some painful memories. Hopefully only the funny good stuff will remain in my memory of that, and not all the insanity. Yeah, it's crazy. And the best part of that was the owner of the company he had gone through, in the few years that I worked with him, worked for that company, he went through 3 wives in that time. He was addicted to taking care of, I don't know, destitute women or something. He married a school teacher and divorced her, and yeah, it was just like so funny how it was like, oh, that's over now. And yeah, it was amazing. But I think it was based on just like, I don't know if he, like, very self-obsessed guy, very narcissistic, but he was also very in love with the idea of taking care of somebody. And so that was a big part of a relationship. I think he felt he cared about someone if he wanted to, like, spend money on them. And so that's where that came from a lot. Yeah. And so, of course, then all the, the ends of those relationships were always very ugly, because they were based on money and support. Yeah. It's funny, but it's good that there are people with money that actually have those feelings. All right. So what's going on? Yeah, getting a little bit of a late start today. Yeah, I wish my my streaming schedule could be more regular. Sorry if that's makes it difficult to catch things, but yeah, just how it has to be for now. There's things will start to change, and my schedule will be more my own. But for now, I've got to fit it in, because it's hard. That's the funny thing with just in the priorities of everything, it's hard to make streaming a priority, especially because I'm not making anything. I mean, I appreciate any donations, but it doesn't make an income. Like, it's not a full-time thing. So between the cartoon and then the streaming, it's hard to justify this being a priority over anything else. So everything trumps trumps my streaming, which I'm sure people know how that feels. There's probably a lot of people doing that just they can't make it. I'm sure a lot of people lie about it though too. There was something I was listening to that was somebody constantly on the verge of, like, oh, this is going really well, this is about to explode, some game streaming or something. And of course it wasn't, but they were justifying all their time they were spending by saying that to their family. And that's got to be so bizarre too, because especially if you're just game streaming, it's a pretty crowded field. I think the people that have already kind of distinguished themselves and are making the millions are already there, and there's no there's no room. There's no more room at the top. So you'd have to do something to completely, innovate or shake up that space if you're going to get in there. And and so you have to justify to like what if you're like a family, like you're married with kids, and you're justifying, daddy's got to keep gaming, daddy's got to keep gaming. That's crazy. That's got to be yeah, that's unique to this time, because there's still the idea that there's money out there. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm sure you can do it for years. And if you don't kind of lock into a situation or a group, a group that kind of supports each other or whatever, then yeah, it's just not going to go anywhere. But there's a lot of people that kind of tend to do that with things. Yeah. And I love when they get the domestic violence, when people are streaming or podcasting or whatever, and they're like yelling at their families. And they record it. Like if it's live, I guess you're gonna be recording everything. But people like in podcasts and things, they'll upload things in which they're like screaming at their kids or their family, or like you hear like contact, you hear somebody throwing something or somebody being hit with something. It's amazing. But yeah, I guess at a certain point you just forget. And if you're lazy, if you don't edit anything and you're lazy and have forgotten that the microphone is there, then sure, why not? Yeah, there was that recently. I think she was a YouTuber, and forget to cut out. She's trying to get her kid to cry. The kid just lost a pet or something, and trying to get the kid to cry, and the kid wasn't crying good enough. But she was doing the whole staging thing where she was like, put your head on mommy's shoulder, and okay, now look at the camera and cry, like, no, really cry. And the little kid's like, I am crying, because he was genuinely upset, but it wasn't theatrically upset. It wasn't like, it didn't read well on camera, because that's acting. When something reads well on camera, it's acting. Most things don't look good on camera, don't look real on camera, but they are in real life. When they're actually happening. So that's the funny thing about people trying to do that, document their life. And I think they quickly, even if they were stupid enough to think things like reality television and things are just a documentary, or even documentaries aren't real life, but it's just a camera capturing everything. They soon realize how choreographed and scripted things are, and so that's what you have to start doing. And so this woman left the scene of her like coaching her kid to cry, and the both of them trying to and they were like, so they got to the point, they got their shot, they got the scene, but they didn't cut out all the coaching stuff up until that point where they were both so sad. And ouch, that's child abuse. It looks like child abuse very much. Yeah, I was imagining some of that in Japan too. I think it's changed, and of course YouTube has changed since then as well. But there were some families that were getting popular in Japan and actually getting attention from the toy companies, the corporations, to do like TV commercials and sponsorships and things. And they were just opening toys, and I think there was so much of that. And so it's like two kids, usually like two sisters or a brother and a sister, always two kids, and they throw this big toy in front of them, they tear it all apart and they put it all together, and like, wow, so cool. And but they post so regularly, and I could just imagine, because there's not really homeschooling. I'm sure there is, but it's not common in Japan. So those kids had a really busy school day schedule, and probably homework, because you get homework from elementary school here. And they have to come home, and then they have their parents like yelling at them to open toys and smile, and yeah, I can't imagine. But the off-camera stuff, I would love to hear, like all of the off-camera, like, we gotta record, put that down, stop, finish your dinner. The parents just like shouting at their kids to perform, to get ready to perform. Because that's the money. Yeah, because the early ones, the early people that did that did cash in really well. And then they started doing things like, so they were like for a year or two on YouTube, they're just opening toys. And most houses, like after they opened this stuff, there's no place to even keep this stuff. So they probably just gave it away or threw it away or whatever. So because it was all like the big complicated play sets and things for young kids, for like, elementary school age kids. And then after they hit their success, after they're making their money from this, then they spend that money to go on vacation, but then they have to document the whole vacation because now they're this brand. They come up with a cute little way to say the kids' names, or they're two little princesses or whatever. They have some little branding for their kids. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's like just the stage parent thing, like the parents that drag their kids to auditions and stuff. That's the grassroots homegrown version of that, is you can do that all yourself now. Try to make your kid famous, and they may never get a break, and you may be able to make some money from that, but probably not enough, depending on when you get into something. So, and what does that do to the kids? Like, they're thinking about their future and everything. It's definitely got to be a whole nother level of child star, because you weren't ever really famous. You just did something that kind of generated a little revenue and was a big priority in your life, but nobody knows who you are. Or if something like really embarrassing, happened and you went viral for some reason, then yeah, that would be fun to be stuck with that. Yeah, like there's sometimes they catch up with people, like people's photos online that have become memes. They catch up with some of those people, and it actually was pretty terrible to be kind of infamous. You don't make any money if your photo goes viral on the internet and becomes some weird meme. But people recognize you. People will ask, "Hey, are you the?" So yeah, that's pretty miserable. A new type of fame. Andy Warhol would have been, I don't know, maybe intrigued or completely disgusted by this, because he was such a he worshipped celebrities so much that that was part of his art, is wanting to make himself a celebrity, and loved like just sitting in nice hotel lobbies and seeing famous people come in. So I wonder what this Z level, this lowest possible level of fame, how that would have probably just would have been disgusting because some of those people do kind of get into social circles, or get some deals or contracts, or make some money with advertising or sponsorships in some way, that it does become real. They're kind of on a more real level. Yeah, it's just crazy. But that would have been probably pretty nauseating for people that love the old idea of celebrity, and how they were like that's special people, or just how that happens to people is amazing for them. And Warhol was definitely one of those people. Crazy. Well, let's see here. Yeah, I don't think any of these are quite that useful. I kind of like these outdoor, this patio furniture. How they have the coated for handling the weather, the cushions for like outdoor patio furniture. I like the look of this stuff in that way. I can't think of anything funny about patio furniture. Yeah, it's just like a bunch of cushions. Oh, wow. Mm. Nice. Yeah, I think it's working. Oh, the chat is very quiet this week. But yeah, hopefully my timing wasn't too off, because I know some people are, things are getting back to normal, so people's schedules are pretty early, so they can't stay up. That's the bad part about this stream is getting established during the lockdown. Is people had very, a lot of freedom and a lot of could be up late hours, and so the time difference was much less of a problem. But now, yeah, I think the time difference is much more felt, especially like East Coast North American time. Yeah, I can't hit that well at all, because it's like a full like 16 hours difference. So yeah, there's no good way to make that work. It's always 3 a.m. Like every time I check, like with my, to call my parents or whatever, every time I check, it's 3 a.m. Oh, it's 1 a.m. every time. Because when things start to slow down, like when the day starts to wind down here, it's, middle of the early morning, middle of the night there. And unfortunately, they are not insomniacs, so there's no good way to get in touch. They literally have to set alarms. Ugh. Or just call first thing in the morning when I get up. Oh, for my daughter. All right. What are we doing? So I gotta quit drawing cushions. How about something that's an actual object? Oh, sorry. Let me check the. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, everything looks like it's running okay. All right. Oh. I can't make the chat work. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, let me know if there's any. I think technically everything seems to be going okay, but let me know if there's anything not working. Yeah, we had a. That was the other channel though, but we were talking about Avatar. And the guy I was talking to wanted to show me the trailer for the Kickstarter, and somebody did kind of a, I don't know if it was specifically done by the animation studio, but there was like a memorial trailer of the first 3 seasons or whatever of that show, and so they did a kind of compilation thing with music, and both of those things set off the content ID on YouTube when we were streaming. Twitch as well, but it went down and came back up. Like I think it was worried about what we were doing, and it was only, they're very short, just a few minutes, like a 2-minute trailer or whatever, but still, that's long enough. And I guess the audio sets things off so quickly that. Oh hey, some empty friend, thanks. Yeah, chat is working. Yeah, I'm always worried that combined chat that I use from Restream, sometimes that doesn't catch anything. It won't, it doesn't see anything. I'll have to check individual platforms, like I'll go to Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, and there's a bunch of messages, like the chat's going on, and the combined chat that I look at is completely dead. So thank you, some empty friend. Appreciate it. But... yeah, so that's a thing. Yeah, so that was very frustrating because we're having a nice discussion. So I downloaded the video and I re-edited it, took out all the breaks and stuff. So I'll put that back up on the channel so you can hear if you're interested. I know this is not the channel to ask if you're interested, but the Avatar: The Last Airbender RPG, tabletop RPG, was on Kickstarter, and it made like almost $10 million. Probably by now it's made $10 million after the late pledging and stuff. And we talked about that because it's a huge huge success, and it's a weird IP because I don't think, people think like, Marvel superheroes or, Star Wars or whatever, like these other kind of established brands, have that kind of draw and have that kind of power, but I don't think they really understood how big that fan base was for The Last Airbender. And a smaller company licensed it from CBS Viacom, and had huge success with it on a crowdfunding platform. But because that property is probably too big for a crowdfunding platform, that studio isn't, but the IP is. So that's a weird combination. That's happened sometimes where there'll be like a Marvel superheroes game on Kickstarter. It's like, that's a Disney property. Why would you need to crowdfund a Disney license? But you see people doing that. So the companies that I respect, though, are the ones that they kickstart, like they've used Kickstarter or crowdfunding to gauge support for their kind of, their original properties, their original projects, or their kind of passion projects. Like they want to make a game that reminds them of the games they played when they were young, but is updated for like more modern sensibilities and mechanics and stuff. And they want to test that out and see what kind of, buzz they can generate. And they have, PR mechanisms and marketing mechanisms to generate interest. And so it's a nice way to kind of safely test stuff. But when you've got the license for, Masters of the Universe or Aliens or something, you don't need to go to Kickstarter for those things. They have their own draw, and so you should just be willing to take the risk. I don't know, but maybe in this day and age, though, with the kind of insecurities of manufacturing and shipping and everything, crowdsourcing or crowdfunding is safer, because you can just say, hey, sorry, we didn't make it, didn't do it, because they're always specifying this is not a pre-order, this doesn't guarantee you're buying anything. If they're unable to do it, then too bad. They only have to do it to the best of their ability, and if they can just point a finger at China or some kind of fulfillment failure or distribution hiccup, then yeah, that's a lot easier than everyone charging back their credit cards and calling their lawyers. So maybe they feel like they've got a little more protection doing crowdfunding, which they shouldn't need. But who knows if you can get away with it. But it's just the thing that I would worry about is the more that becomes common and accepted that people are just going to use Kickstarter, then what if the big companies just start to do that? They will just eclipse everything by having these multi-million-dollar Kickstarters every single time, and just all that does is kind of give them rough counts for their manufacturing. But it's just going to change the whole the whole atmosphere and feel and kind of focus of those platforms. Who knows? Maybe that won't ever happen because they don't see the advantage, because you have to give, like, I forget what the cut is, like 20% whatever to Kickstarter. So you have to give them 20% of your $10 million. So that's money you could have had for production and fulfillment. So yeah, maybe that will never happen because of that cut. But yeah, when I see those things, I'm always very curious. You didn't think this was gonna be okay on its own? All right. Yeah, but maybe they also look at, I'm sure you can get numbers about releasing a small project or a small independent project with crowdfunding and without, and the exposure, because Kickstarter, like, if they support something, if they recommend something, they're sending it out to millions of people that already have Kickstarter accounts, that have already pledged in the past, that all they have to do is click a button, like one click, and they've bought and they backed your project. Whereas if you're selling it, even online, there's a process. If they don't have an account on your web store or whatever, there's a little bit more of a process. So maybe there's a huge motivation there to reach the widest possible audience with the easiest. I'm sure there's a business term for that, but you know, path to selling something. There's no obstacle. There's no. I don't know any of those business terms, but to get someone to actually put their money down is a lot easier with certain platforms. But yeah, it's a very it's a funny thing. Yeah, so we had a nice discussion. The guy I was talking to, AC Gallagher, has run the game, played the game, and read everything and followed the Kickstarter. So if you're interested at all, he is a font of wisdom on that situation, and has knowledge of they chose the Powered by the Apocalypse system, which is a popular with independent game developers. It's a popular system, but I don't think a lot of people know it that have only played real mainstream stuff. So yeah, that was an interesting choice, but he said that it's a good match, that it works well. I don't know what to do with any of this stuff. I can't do a pillow joke. Or how about a lid joke? A lid pretending to be a completely different box. Yeah, that might be a little bit of a surreal gag. So this guy and this one. So these two, I'll put these over on the other sheet. I think that might be a good, in the other file, that might be a good gag. Oh, hey, Daddy Psycho. Thank you. Thanks for the raid. I just got the notification. All right. Appreciate it. So welcome the party of Daddy Psycho 96. Yeah, just drawing a cartoon. So this is so I do this digitally. It used to be actually paper, ink and paper, but I do this cartoon digitally every week. I'll do these together. And so Abuse Cartoons is the name of the channel. Domestic Abuse is the name of the cartoon, and it's a cartoon just about everyday objects, but kind of alive, or what is that? They're not anthropomorphic because they're not shaped like people, but yeah, they're just animated, as in they are sentient, I guess. There's got to be a better word for that. But they have their own lives and their own little traumas, and it's kind of based on the things we do to each other, or the things that we do to the inanimate objects in our lives because of thanks for the follow, Daddy Psycho 96. Welcome to the channel. But yeah, so every week this happens at this time. So Monday night, roughly Monday night, North American time, Tuesday afternoon in Asia. And yeah, I think this will work. Make it a little bit bigger. So yeah, I just kind of talk through the creative process of drawing the cartoon, and then writing it as well. So it's like a magazine style cartoon, or like the single panel cartoon. So it's an image and a joke. And I do both of those things. It used to be like back in the day. Some cartoonists would buy jokes. So a lot of stuff you would see in like I'm trying to think of real common, like women's magazines, and a lot of stuff that was just like a common news magazine or something that would have, when they weren't political cartoons, the cartoonists would go to joke writers and buy a joke that they thought they could draw a funny picture to. So the writer and the artist were two different people. And I think that became less and less common with things like the New Yorker, and some of the more modern, maybe starting in like the 70s, 80s. You were kind of the full package. But that always made me laugh, or, I thought that was amusing, like to go joke shopping. That would be that'd be a very funny process. And then once you found somebody who you liked their sense of humor, or, the other thing is, it would be someone you would just buy, jokes from different people. And if you had one that hit, because basically you're doing these cartoons, like if you don't have a syndicator, that's like selling that has already made a contract, so they're selling it to a newspaper or a magazine regularly, like you basically have a contract through your syndication. If you don't have that, then you're shopping these things around, you're just submitting them. So if you have one that hits, then you're definitely going to go back to that joke writer and buy more of his jokes, because you got lucky with the combination of your drawing and his joke. So that had to be a completely different world. I'm sure there's things that are similar to that now, like musicians and designers and things. People that are doing motion graphics and things are. I did that on the wrong there. Probably have musicians and things they like to work with. But just joke shopping, that always made me laugh. And how do you decide I'm going to be a professional joke writer, and like how do you make yourself available? Because even stand-up comedians, like back in the day, kind of 50s 60s kind of stand-ups, like they would have joke writers. Like they would just be the personality, they'd be the front man, and they would have joke writers, because I guess that took a lot of the work out of putting together an app. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Lil Will. Good to see you. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing anything. Nice. Appreciate the... Oh, there we go. Hey, Crystal. How's it going? Nice. Oh, yeah, you were talking about elements, or at least commands, Lil Will, last week. I looked at stream elements. Yeah, I'm sure if that's what you're talking about, like putting commands into the Twitch chat, or if it's something that I just enable separately. Oh, emote only chat. Oh, it says it right there. This room is for emotes only. All right. Yeah, see, there's so much that I don't know about Twitch. So my apologies for having a broke-ass Twitch stream. But yeah, good to see everybody. And I think that's going to do it for this one. A little bit of a boring one, so let's try to make some room here. But yeah, hope everyone is doing well. This is the usual song and dance for every week. Yeah, because 2 of these a week. So these go out Tuesday and Thursday on Go Comics, and you can get them sent to your email, and yeah, and along with thousands of other. There's a ton of cartoons on that site. So if there's a bunch of stuff that you like to read, you can just have like an email digest version of it sent, or just have a little chosen list that comes up every time you log in. Like subscriptions, you just subscribe to the cartoons, and every time they come out, they'll show up in your little stream. They did a lot to improve that, because it was, when I was first on that site, it was very very primitive. And then they started a premium subscription model and everything, so that really helped the keep the riffraff from mucking up the works. And they got a lot less spam and stuff then in their comment sections. So they figured it out. But yeah, so that's gocomics.com/domestic abuse. Jeez, domestic abuse. If you want to see the archive of this, it's been almost 20 years. So there are thousands of these little cartoons. And some of them better than others. Man. Nice. I like the emote chat. Yeah, that was the that one emote with the guy holding his head is what comes up when your Twitch connection breaks. That's all I was seeing on Saturday night. But yeah, so no more cushions. I gotta think of something else. I'm just enjoying these big shapes, but they don't look like anything. All right. On Twitch, so no one can type. How did I do that? Okay, emotes only. Thanks, Lil Will. I'll emotes only chat. Yeah, I don't know why that would be follower. Oh wow, so follower only slow motion. Yeah, I don't know why. Show. Okay, is there any other things that I have like turned off? There we go. I have disabled emote only. So that's why all the head the head grabbing. Yeah, that's weird. I don't remember if I did anything. So delete, highlight, first time chat, scroll only. Weird. There we go. Thank you for letting me know. And hey Boris Johnson music. All right. Yeah. I have no idea how I did that because I didn't go in and mess with anything. So interesting. I guess that's a nice way to totally disable. Thanks. Crazy. All right. Yeah, appreciate the heads up. Sorry, I'm multi-streaming to platforms. I don't give as much attention to each one. So thanks. Thank you. I appreciate the help as always. But yeah, this streaming on Saturday, it didn't go. I mean, because we had the content ID problem, but it went pretty well. I think we were just using Discord, like streaming from Discord. So that went surprisingly well. I haven't done that before because you have to use like the virtual camera, like the OBS virtual cameras and things. Hey, thanks a lot, Minnie. I appreciate the follow. Oh, Manila wafers. Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, sorry, I just turned off the emote only. I think it should be working. I hope I don't have to restart anything to get that to work. Nice. Yes. Your voices have been restored. Yeah, I have no idea if I was looking through options and accidentally clicked that or what. I hadn't, I wasn't aware of that was even that setting. Fun. Or maybe Twitch just doesn't trust me to run a decent chat, so they they started defaulting. That's not great. Oh. There we go. Nice. Well, welcome everybody that is a first timer here. This is just a drawing stream. I do a little segment with things from the convenience store. I'm in Japan right now, so I go to a Japanese convenience store every morning, and every morning I stream and look for something interesting that maybe you guys haven't seen. Recently, things have been, there's been less and less kind of seasonal and interesting things, so I'm wondering if there's been supply troubles in Japan as well for some some raw materials or ingredients for things, because there's definitely a slowdown. So that may mean countries are getting a little more cautious, or the companies are getting a little more cautious in Japan about risking, things that may not be successful, because the new and unique seasonal goods or kind of limited stuff is pretty small now. But it may just be that particular convenience store is being more conservative. So I'll have to look around. Yeah, in the little area that we're in, there used to be four. There used to be 4 different convenience stores around. And I think I told this story before, but there was a kind of a political push by, they have little tobacco shops, like basically a hole in the wall, a window in the wall with a little counter that sells cigarettes, so like a cigarette stand. But they are really tiny. They're just like wide enough for one person to sit in a chair, kind of like a ticket booth or something. But they happen, near kind of heavy traffic areas. You'll see them near train stations or near shopping areas or whatever. And I guess they made a push, or some politician defended their right to be the exclusive sellers of cigarettes in those areas. So whoever owns those, had some political power, or some politician got paid off or whatever. And so they exerted that force to say these little tiny tobacco shops are the only place you can sell cigarettes in these areas. So many convenience stores closed down, because if they can't sell cigarettes, that's a huge part of their sales. So basically, if a Japanese convenience store was in an area where they couldn't sell alcohol, couldn't sell tobacco or cigarettes, they wouldn't even open, because it's such a major part of their sales. That's where all their profit comes from. So yeah, that was very strange. So that happened while I was here. There were so many convenience stores and a lot of variety. Then something changed, and no cigarettes at all the convenience stores, and then they just started to shut down. So those invisible forces at work. I mean, I guess, if the thinking is to save this old way, this old style, definitely the convenience stores would put those small tobacco shops out of business. But we don't even know, like, if those are independently owned, or if it's just one big company that owns all those little tobacco shops. Because if they are doing that to protect independent sellers and give them like first rights to selling in an area, especially if it's been established for a while, that makes sense. And that's kind of a Japanese move. They are very protectionist about, small local farmers and things. There's a lot of government programs and assistance to keep those things from disappearing or being kind of eaten up by commercial interests. So so it's a funny thing. So when you buy your cigarettes, you can either go to a vending machine or this tiny little window in the side of a building that a little old man or old woman is sitting in there selling cigarettes. Yeah, it's basically like a closet with a window in the front of it. I don't even know. I'm not sure. I think they actually might open the front. They open the window and go in through the front, because the window often has like a frame on it, so maybe they don't even go in the back of it. It's literally just a booth. But yeah, it says tobacco on the front, and that's where everybody buys their cigarettes. Yeah, and the cigarette taxes haven't gone crazy here, in an effort to get people to stop smoking like they have in North America. So packs of cigarettes are still, $3-4 a piece instead of like what 15-20 like they are in New York. Yeah, very different thinking, very different mentality in how they view businesses. But the thing is, it could just be one person that owns all of those little tobacco stands. Who knows like what the reality of that business is. You think they're trying to support little independent sellers, but the truth may be that that it's just a racket. It's just like all Yakuza run or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, any more movie discussions? Oh yeah, yeah. After sorry, I just saw that. Some Empty Friend. Uh, thanks for that. Yeah, no, I did. I did like three or four, and then I think when I did the Snyder, the Snyder cut of Justice League, it kind of killed it because I was doing art films, more artsy films up to that point, and then for the other podcast, we were going to watch Justice League. And I think that was not a great choice. So yeah, after that one, I didn't do any more, but I should. I mean, or just do a different channel, that is like movie discussion or whatever, or do a live stream on the other channel that's film discussion. But yeah, I'm still watching stuff on Criterion, and yeah, really enjoying the yeah, a bunch of stuff online. So we should be sharing that because that was fun. That was a good thing. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I didn't. I haven't done any more movie discussions. It was just the three or four that. Yeah, so what we did: Mandy, The Lighthouse, a few other. Yeah, just a couple other. Oh yeah, no, that was the previous film. Yeah, but yeah, there's good stuff. And I learned, yeah, the hard way that you can't show a trailer. You can't show a trailer on a live stream. That's when I learned that, and obviously didn't share that knowledge for the Avatar discussion. But yeah, if you're interested, it would be fun to do because I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's fun to talk movies, and I like to hear people's recommendations and also their experience with stuff. But yeah, sorry, yeah, no more movie stuff recently. Yeah, I really enjoyed. I talked about it before, but Criterion this month is doing for kind of for Halloween are doing a bunch of the Universal monster movies. They have like a curated list of those movies, and it's not the real main ones. It's just kind of a little bit more rare or a little bit more unappreciated. So not Frankenstein and Dracula, but Bride of Frankenstein and The Mummy and a few others that I hadn't seen in a long time. And now the restoration, the digital mastering that they do is so beautiful compared to the kind of garbage. Sometimes those things will pop up on Amazon or whatever, but they're not. They're just whatever they had that they dumped onto VHS that then they dumped onto DVD and then becomes the streaming quality. The stuff that they release on Criterion, they've remastered, so it looks great. And I was really surprised the tone of those movies was very. I mean, because I saw them when I was a kid, so stupid things like stupid humor and things being a little like a mix of comedy and horror. I didn't notice as much, because that's what everything was like. That's what cartoons and everything was like. But I was really surprised how they tried to mix horror with really ridiculous scenes of kind of, yeah, they were just like really silly characters that stood out as being unreal. And it seemed like, because this was in like the 30s, like a lot of this is when they started making these movies. So I wonder if Hollywood was almost at a point where they were going to kind of give up genre and just try to find a genre that included everything, because they would always have a romance story, heavy comedy, and then horror and, you know, kind of drama. There was some suspense and drama, but that's very much like Bollywood. Like Bollywood movies are, you know, they're musicals and they're romance stories and they're action movies. Like they can combine so much stuff. And that's kind of the expectation. So it really felt like, you know, things could have gone very differently for the Hollywood film, and they wouldn't have had genre films. Like you wouldn't have gone into a video store and looked in a category, because movies would have all been so mishmash of a bunch of different things. But yeah, that obviously didn't happen. But I saw something in those old movies that I hadn't noticed before about how strange they were. How like not one type of movie they were. There was a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, very odd. But yeah, if you'd be into that way, I've got to figure out some way to do that. Nice. Oh man, I can't imagine. Yeah, shingles. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's gotta suck. Yeah, I'm waiting for something something to affect me as I continue not paying good attention to my health. I'm worried, yeah, about that kind of stuff. So yeah, sorry to hear that. That sounds, I know that's painful. So yeah, sorry to hear that. But yeah. So I haven't gone back to do movies, and I didn't come up, I think, with a very good format. It seems like, I don't know, like that there should be more of a discussion, because when it's just one way, when it's just kind of a monologue, it seems like all I was doing is giving opinions and recounting the story, trying to do it as, you know, spoiler free as possible. So if you wanted to see the movie and you hadn't, you know, you could still listen. But that's, yeah, there's got to be a better format for that, especially as a live stream. I think having a discussion maybe would be more interesting. But responding to the chat worked okay. I was just worried that it just felt really boring, and it just felt like I was like, you know, blah 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 blah. And I'm not like a, you know, film major or a, you know, critic or anything. I just really enjoy storytelling in movies. So it was yeah. But if I figured a way to kind of do that, and if there was a way, I know there's a couple of platforms like Screener and a couple of these other, you can set an appointment to like all get together and watch the same thing on the same streaming service, so it kind of syncs your experience on a streaming platform. So something like that might be fun, where we actually just like, you know, sit through the movie and you know, talk about it. I don't know what the best thing is, because there's people that are doing it so much better. Oh wow, more than 5 weeks of pain. Jeez, I couldn't handle that. Well, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, it's going away. Yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah. The downtime is good. Yeah, that's a lot of recovery time. That's a lot of pain. Yeah, I'm really bad. Just with a little bit of like simple surgery I had recently, just the recovery time, I'm really bad with pain. It just like I get super depressed. I don't know. They're just like the constant. So not something like sudden pain, like I don't know, like stubbing your toe or, you know, something. That's not a problem, like a simple injury, but something that like surgery or something you have to heal from. That long sustained pain, I just get really, really depressed, like almost immediately. That, you know, sustained pain thing, that impulse or whatever, just makes me completely useless. It's just like there's no point. So it's going to be really bad, I think, in my older years, if I have like a, you know, if I break a hip or whatever, have someone like major injury, that's just going to be the end of me. I'm just going to be like, let me go. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah, it's going to be bad, because I just never have been able to do recovery well. So yeah, I don't envy you with those 5 weeks, but it's good. I'm glad you could catch up on movies. What was the best thing that you saw, or what was the thing you enjoyed the most during that downtime, movie wise? There's stuff I gotta catch up on, definitely. Yeah, I think that's why I like movies too, because it still seems like it's possible to see everything that's good. Like when I look on like Criterion or the other streaming services, like it's not endless. It's like a finite number of movies that I want to see. But when you think about books or television, because of the scale of it, it's like you're never going to. Iceman is suicidal. the, the message got held, but oh man. But the the scale of things that you're never going to read is just, you can't even get your head around that. But movies, there's something about movies, and especially if you're going to say like, there's a lot of recent stuff that you don't care about. It seems like it's possible to see the movies that you should have seen in your life, but it gets that's the only thing that I like, or the thing I prefer movies about, is it doesn't seem insurmountable. Like the number of films that you should see in your lifetime is possible, whereas now I feel like books and everything are just so out of reach. I'm gonna have to really be selective. Oh, Coen Brothers. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so Big Lebowski, that's excellent. And Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Beetlejuice. Yeah, those are great. I really miss classic Tim Burton. I don't like recent Johnny Depp Tim Burton stuff. I mean, I love Ed Wood, but there's so many bad bad team ups with them in recent years. Just stuff that it seems like they're both just like collecting a paycheck. But yeah, the classic stuff. I just watched Blood Simple was on in their neo noir list, was on Criterion, and that's good. That's a really rough movie. They've definitely lightened up, but they still are able to do that kind of crazy suspense and stuff from those early days. But yeah, and Frances McDormand is like, she looks like she's like 19 or 18 in that movie, but she's in that as well. But Blood Simple was really good. I think that might be their first movie, or their first like movie that got them attention. But early Tim Burton, I love all of that stuff. His directing sense and everything was great. And then I don't know what happened. Miller's Crossing, that's another. I really, every time I get a chance to see that, I always forget how much I like Miller's Crossing. That's a great film. Yeah, they do a lot of good stuff. Yeah, it's been a while. There's some stuff of theirs that I haven't was that Burn After Reading, or there's a couple of things I haven't seen in a while that I should go back, because I keep hearing people mention them, and or even I want to see. I haven't seen Raising Arizona in a long time, and I remember loving that movie, but I haven't seen it in so long. And Nicolas Cage has like gone so far south since that time. I'd be curious to watch a young, more fun version of Nicolas Cage with real hair and everything. That's good stuff. I did that again. Okay. But there's something to curation, like having someone choose stuff, and I think that's why I don't have it so much here. I guess sometimes, like, they have I forget, it's like Friday nights or whatever, they'll play a big movie, and usually it's a tie-in. If there's like a sequel in the theaters, like if Part 3 is in the theaters, like Spider-Man Part 3, they'll play Spider-Man Part 2 or whatever on television in Japan. And sometimes we'll just watch those just because it's on. Like somebody chose to put it on, and it's it was a deliberate choice of programming. I think we're losing the kind of the understanding of how important that is to kind of have a focus and have a thing that you're thinking about, and whatever, or a storyline that you're following or whatever. So I love that about the Criterion channel, is they have curated collections, and so you kind of get into a genre and you see all these examples of a genre, either done in different countries or different time periods or whatever, and that's really fun. And people's like deliberate choices of you should watch this feel so much better than those just endless, like Netflix endless covers that this algorithm is like shoving in your face, or just like how Apple just does it, where you just like everything is equal, like garbage that people have just thrown up there. And classic films have this like equal status because you're just like scrolling through these covers, and that's definitely ruined, kind of, I think, how people are experiencing media, because you do need some sort of moderation and some sort of like, yeah, don't pay attention to this now. There's nothing interesting right now with this genre, or there's nothing interesting, related to where we are. And but I love when they do those kind of collections of things where it's like, yeah, you should see this, because it makes a big difference. Because I would always, like back in the days of cable, when you just be flipping channels, a movie comes on, like a RoboCop or something is playing, you just watch it, like, because it's on. That's the only reason you watch it. But somebody, and most of that stuff, like cable, it's not curated. It's just whatever they have the money for. They bought they have a contract that they can play that a certain number of times or whatever in a month. But the fact that it's being programmed, it's being put out, it's offered at that time for you for some sort of reason, financial or aesthetic or whatever, is I think we still need that. This like endless selection is just nonsense, because it's so painful. The trial and error. I mean, I don't know how many things on Netflix, and I think Japanese Netflix is a little weird and different because it pulls from all over the world. So there's Indian films and European films, and a lot of Latin America, South America, Spanish language films. They're all subtitled in Japanese. Sometimes they're not subtitled in English, so they're kind of it's too difficult to watch. But the trial and error of finding things that are worth watching, even with the algorithm like shoving stuff at your face based on what you watched in the past, is really punishing. I mean, I just there need to be yeah, RoboCop. Yeah, always the original RoboCop. That's one of those ones where you're flipping, you're just like, okay, I'm watching this. Yeah, but it's only the first one. Exactly. Yeah, it's just the soundtrack on that and everything is just, it's just perfect. It's a perfect, like, it was just done well. It was like just the right amount of crazy violence and everything. And there's so many films like that where they couldn't ever, like, I don't know why. I guess it was a prequel, but why did they make another Thing? Like, why did they think John Carpenter's the Thing? I guess it was, The Thing. Why that needed to have the prequel story told? That was just terrible. But there's so many times that they do that. I was just watching too about Halloween 2, about how pissed off John Carpenter again was about they wanted a sequel. I think he wrote it. He didn't direct it. Didn't want to direct it. He wrote it and he hated it because it just, like, they just wanted to basically recreate the first one as simply as possible. Just establish that character. And people said that that film does establish Michael Myers as like this, not a one-off character, but this this iconic horror character that's gonna continue. But I don't think they've done any good films after the first one. The first one was like one of those almost perfect, it wasn't even close to a first one. It was just kind of imitating stuff that was going on, but it was one of those perfect slasher films. But they always do that. They always, want to jump on that. And Jaws too. Jaws is another example. Jaws should never have had sequels. It's the perfect film, the perfect way to tell that story. And why did they keep making and Jaws 3D and everything? I guess it's because the sequel was invented, like the late 70s. Like, they suddenly realized, wait, now we have these blockbusters. We're getting people, getting this huge buzz around these films. We got to get people back next summer based on, that first experience. So the sequel was born, because that wasn't even a thing. Like in the 50s and 60s, there wasn't Streetcar Named Desire 2 or whatever. They didn't do weird sequels to popular movies. So yeah, it's a very weird thing. And then it just became worse with video and stuff. Then you had direct to video sequels. Jeez, that's as low as it gets. Yeah, it was the I don't even know who directed it, but the one with I can't think of the actress's name, but it was a mixed mixed gender cast. There were women in the cast, and it led up to the events that happened in the Norwegian base. So original thing, you've just got the dog that escaped from the dog that is the thing escaping, and the Norwegians are shooting at him from the helicopter, and then they go to that base and they see the thing they dug out of the ice, and I'm spoiling everything if you haven't seen it, but they go to that base and see just the devastation that happened, and they know, okay, that thing that now we're dealing with this is where it came from. So the newer one that they just called The Thing, which is so idiotic that there's now movies, you have to look at the year. So you have to look at the year that things were made. So The Thing, like 19 or that's 2016 or whatever. 2016, The Thing is the story of what happened at the Norwegian base, but with a bunch of extra people. They're not all Norwegians. It's Norwegians and Americans. But yeah, it tells the events that led up to, and it's terrible because they do CG everything. They originally were going to do practical effects, and somebody said, no, we want CG. So they put CG over over the shots of all of their practical effects that they had already filmed. And yeah, it's just ridiculous because it's way over the top as far as any of the body horror or anything. It's not so visceral because it's not actually there. It's just whatever the computer can do. So it's just like guys standing up and just like springing in half and all teeth and tentacles and things. And of course, a computer can do whatever, but it doesn't even look like it's in that space. It doesn't look like a threat because it's just this frenetic, mess of teeth and limbs and stuff. So yeah, they really ruined the atmosphere of that, and the oh my god, this is happening kind of thing from the original movie. But yeah, that prequel was terrible. I just don't know why they keep erasing their history. I don't know, understand what that. You keep seeing that, like you see, like iPads or so many devices and things are just the newest one. They don't give it a model name, or you have to like technically look at it. Oh, this is the A6 processor one or whatever it is. They just say it's the new one, and they're doing that with movies. But what happens then is that erases for younger people that are trying to enjoy a genre or characters or whatever. They're going to see the remake of Halloween before they see the John Carpenter Halloween, because there's two movies named Halloween now. That the only difference between those movies, the story is similar, and it's the years. That's the only thing that differentiates the which one is which. And I really think there must be some thinking behind that, but I really think that's a loss, because it's going to be so hard to sort through. Things aren't going to be able to be cataloged very well, and you're just going to keep saying, well, which one you talking about, the old one, the new one? And then there's going to be a third one. Like eventually we're going to have a third Halloween remake. And so which one is which, the original or the second original? Yeah 2011. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Very strange. But I don't know why they keep doing that. Or like the 2016 Ghostbusters, the remake of they just called it Ghostbusters. That's insane that you're just going to take a title and reuse it and don't understand how much confusion you're creating. Because, and maybe it is just an attempt to destroy nostalgia and destroy the past, and just you're just overwriting stuff. So then when people do a search, you know, you just type Ghostbusters or whatever, and probably 2016 comes up first. I don't know, based on popularity or whatever. Maybe it doesn't. But how confusing is that? You can't even talk about things anymore, and everything has to be, you know, the 2011 version, the 2011 remake. Yeah, it's really, really stupid, but they keep doing that. I mean, I don't love those titles where it's like, you know, Ghostbusters Resurrection, or what that's what the Matrix ones are called, right? The Resurrections. I don't love those titles, but at least you have some distinction, you know. And if they are trying to get away from numbers, if movie studios are trying to avoid the criticism of, well, everything is just 2, 3, 4, if they don't want to have numerical iterations of their sequels, and they want to do names, you know, you have to do something. You can't just keep making a movie called, you know, the same thing again and again. It's really bizarre. And trying to find a new audience for it. Yeah, it's very strange. But yeah, I keep getting so disturbed by that they'll just remake. Because what did they? Oh yeah, this. There's not. This is a TV show. It wasn't a series, but I saw Rob Zombie is making a Munsters movie. I don't know what I mean, because the Munsters is an old cheesy kind of like ripoff of the Addams Family. It's an old goofy, you know, like everyone looks like a universal monster, you know, like everyone has a type of classic horror movie monster that they are. And but it's the Addams Family gimmick where, you know, ugly and violent is nice, is good and pretty, and, you know, but nice smelling or whatever is evil. So it's that stupid joke of monsters think pretty people are ugly. But yeah, I don't know what a Rob Zombie version of that is even gonna be. It could be fun, but it could also be like, why are we doing this? I don't know. I guess it gets to the point though where you can, if you've had some success, you can do your pet project and do whatever you want. All right, this is not going anywhere. Let's see here. But yeah, I was surprised to see a Munsters film. I mean, that's definitely a property that's no one knows, you know, much about anymore, because it was, what, like 60s black and white television, so people aren't exactly going out of there. I think it was like a Nick at Night kind of, or TV Land or whatever kind of staple. So we'll see. Yeah, I guess a weird update might be interesting, but yeah, now there's going to be a Munsters, but it could just be, you know, just like all of those stupid television shows turned into movies, like, you know, Flintstones and Scooby-Doo or whatever. Those are all cartoons, but it's just gonna disappear. Like the Brady Bunch, like those Brady Bunch movies. There's no point in making those, and it's just because it's a recognizable IP. So I don't know if it's gonna, what that's gonna be. Why is it happening? Yeah, that's not top of that bag. Should be more deliberate. Uh, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's really yeah, but it's I mean that's definitely going to be a pet project. So that's a good thing is like a director has a love for something that they're doing. They're not just like plugged in to okay, yeah, you do the Knight Rider TV or you do that, based on the TV series you do that movie. So hopefully, some of that passion and so that love for that thing if it comes across on film may be nice to see because there's so little of that now. These loveless, passionless, Charlie's Angels and whatever. But yeah, I can definitely see that matching his childhood and his sensibility because it did have that same feeling of like a lot of the monster like that was a definitely in the 60s, late 60s and 70s, that was such a thing like and there's still a lot of artists and illustrators that do that kind of the monster and it like hot rods and classic cars and stuff started to overlap, so maybe kind of greaser culture and stuff like monster art and kind of yeah, there was a lot of monster stuff and you even had the like Monster Mash and all that kind of cheesy gimmicky 60s music, that all came from that being a popular genre. So yeah, I think Rob Zombie is a fan of that era, or probably maybe was a little kid. He's not that old, is he? Maybe, but could have been a little kid or just past. Yeah, grew up just past that era where monsters were cool. Okay, let's just not do that. And yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, because like definitely in like the White Zombie imagery, there is a lot of that kind of classic monster era stuff, like Dragula and things like that. Is that White Zombie or is that just Rob Zombie? Or did he ever do so? I don't know. I don't know enough about him. All I know is Devil's Rejects. That's definitely my favorite Rob Zombie movie. If Southern Rock could be a murder movie, I just love how Devil's Rejects just fits. It feels like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and everything. It just fits into that like messed up 70s like that murder genre. Not quite slasher, but just kind of like yeah, it's like if Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if the whole family was more active in the murdering, it would be Devil's Rejects. And the use of like Southern Rock and stuff was really good. Oh man, hi G to G, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, a little bit of a late stream this time, but yeah, good to see you and glad to see you, some empty friend. I'm glad you're getting better. That's miserable to have those kind of big breaks, and I think everyone is running into that. And even if you're just kind of forced to, because if you get the sickness, you are forced to just take a few weeks off of your life, because even if you're feeling better or the symptoms aren't that bad, you gotta take 10 days, 2 weeks off. So I think a lot of people have been running into that weird, just kind of being stuck with a thing. But yeah, good to see everybody in the chat. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a while. Yeah, so I keep things I came up with to do in chat I've not continued doing. But yeah, the movie thing is definitely fun. It would be fun to do that some more. Yeah, and that might just have to be a separate thing, because I can't. Because I've got to come up with a good way to present that. And it's fun because you can talk about what you want to talk about, or the movies that you want to talk about. So you can just choose stuff that you enjoy and try to get people to be interested. So share the things that you love. I think that's a good thing about YouTube, there's a lot of people just saying, I hate everything and I'm going to watch things that are going to be painful and I hate them. And that's funny. But it's also nice when people share their enthusiasm for things and show you things that you would have never really noticed before. Yeah, there needs to be as much of that as possible. People just being happy about stuff. And I think it's just because, all of the genius algorithms that have been invented to put stuff in front of your faces, it favors, rage and anger and, trolling and everything else. So that stuff is what you're going to get offered the most. And I think they even know that. I think Twitter knows they just built a hate machine and they're pretending that it's a place of friendly discourse. But just the way that they things get popular by making people angry. And yeah, I mean, I get the appeal of that because I love Mystery Science Theater and stuff where you're just suffering through a movie, but you're doing it, together and in a humorous way, because how did this get made? Why is this so terrible? Is a fun thing to complain about. But it's just everything. All right. Whoa, what's going on here? There we go. Yeah, and I even, can feel myself drifting into that when I'm trying to think of something to say. Complaining about something is much easier to do than actually, spending the energy to be enthusiastic. And plus, people that are just 100% positive, glass half full, that can be annoying. Because it's not really it's funny because we almost want to see with people that have easy, happy success or no difficulties in their life, you do want to see something bad happen to them. It's a weird part of human nature. It's I can't wait for them to fail or get old or something. There's a weird something weird that we feel, and I guess it's just because it's envy or jealousy or whatever. It's not us, or we, why not me kind of thing. What's the opposite of survivor's guilt, right? But yeah, it's a very funny instinct. But I think a lot of stuff is based on that now, and it was before, but just not. The volume of it wasn't so out of control. Volume as amount and volume, sound level of it, the cacophony of misery and hatred wasn't there. Okay, let's do a weird, a bright green, a mint liqueur or something, or melon. Is that a Japanese one? I think there's a Japanese one that's a melon liqueur. Yeah, the weirdest thing I ever had that I was there's been a few, but one of the things that I had in Japan that I was expecting to hate was there was a green tea liqueur, and the guy's house that I was at suggested that I put it that it should be ice, milk, and this green tea liqueur. And that sounds horrible. That sounds like a nightmare. But it was a really good kind of dessert alcohol drink. So kind of like a White Russian without any bite to it, with just kind of a Japanese, flavor to it. But yeah, that was surprisingly good. Milk is never sounds like something I want to mix with alcohol. But yeah, it was surprisingly good. But I just remember that sounding horrible. Yes, see, that's why you need things curated. You need to rely on other people's experiences and tastes to broaden your own. There we go. You little squatter. All right. Okay, sure. We're gonna do some kind of weird, brightly colored. All right. Okay, yeah, I think both of those work. So we're doing a weird. So maybe it should be like more of a gift box with a But I might not read it as a box if I don't do it kind of box color. Let's try it and see what it looks like. Oh, I gotta do my color picking on this monitor or else it's gonna be completely inaccurate. So if I just do it like that, it's pretty plain. But what if it's like a red? Like a red and white. So if this is red, and this has like what, like a red bottom or red sides and a white interior. That looks very Christmassy though. Is the only problem. I'm trying to think of what's a familiar color combination from like some brand. That might ruin the joke though. Okay, so how about this with just a lighter interior? Oh, this is not going to work, is it? Oh, I did. Yeah, so like a lighter color interior. Yeah, talking to the... Didn't know if they were talking to the lid or a completely different box. Yeah. That's fine. That'll be surreal enough. Yeah, I think brown works fine without getting too weird. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to see Dune, or I want to see Dune in Japan, but unfortunately, because of the backup of release, I'm finally like seeing the frustration of this like weird backed up schedule from last summer is now No Time to Die, the 007, the last for a while 007 film, and Dune are out at the same time. I guess 007 was shot in IMAX, so they want to play it in IMAX, and so all the IMAX theaters are being hogged up by James Bond. So they've only released a Japanese dubbed version of Dune in most of the IMAX theaters, which is the worst possible way to watch a movie. Japanese dub is usually pretty horrible, and it's just for people that they don't want to read subtitles, or they just don't like foreign stuff, but they still want to, or don't like foreign actors and voices and stuff, and want to have a more Japanese TV experience of a Hollywood movie. There we go. Yeah, this should work. But that's really frustrating because they're both here. 007 is winning the theater, so I can't get a good subtitled version of Dune. In the theater, they're all pretty tiny screens, not IMAX. So I'm going to miss the experience. I think if I take a hike all the way out to the giant shopping mall out in the middle of nowhere, they've got the biggest screen, so maybe it's playing there. Oh, nice. Oh, congratulations. Yeah. Yeah, White Russians and the Big Lebowski. Yeah, that never when Jeff Bridges was pouring those in Big Lebowski, I was like, ugh, I can't imagine how I don't want to how much I don't want to drink that. But I think it was like Kahlua. I forget, but yeah, it might be okay. I've never had a White Russian, but yeah, congrats, some empty friend. I hope you enjoy it. I had a little sneak peek of it, so I've seen it, but I haven't seen it in the theaters. I don't know how I saw it. I can't even remember how I possibly got a copy of it. But uh, yeah, I was. So some people are complaining, and we'll talk. I won't spoil anything. I won't say anything, but we should talk about Dune. So next, if you're on stream next week, let's talk about Dune, because some people are complaining, but there was a deliberate choice that was made for the actors, and I think it was good in the storytelling, but it upset some people because yeah, to communicate some things, because there was no voiceover, because there was not that. You remember in the David Lynch version, there's that constant voiceover, because in the book there's this constant, like, people are thinking and worrying, and kind of a constant awareness of situation, and that really helped when in the book, when Paul is starting to have his awakening and the prescience, and kind of seeing things at different times, and his questioning of, like, what is real and what is not, and is that my fate. And so you have to have that internal monologue, and so David Lynch did some of those things where it was just voiceover, where the character, like, had no expression, but they reacted to something because their voiceover said, oh, he is amazing, or you'd have those weird little internal voiceovers for the characters, so it was their thoughts, not a technically a voiceover. So they don't do that in the new one. So how do you deal? How do you get some things across? But yeah, I think I've got to see it. I've got to see it in IMAX. I'm really gonna feel like I've missed out on something if I can't get there. But yeah, I don't know. But it'll be fun. It'll be a fun thing to talk about. That's a big part of why I want to see it too. Is I think it's going to be a good discussion. Yeah, I'll just put the label of the kind of designer on the box there. Okay, I think that works. All right, and then the weird liqueur. Nice. Yeah, I gotta make an effort to see Dune. They're really screwing us in Japan because of the they only have so many, like, it's usually 50% or more Japanese films, so they have more. It's not quite, for China reasons, but they do have a limited number of Hollywood films in the theater at any time. So yeah, some things get sacrificed or put on smaller screens or whatever, because there's just too much stuff. And rarely, the most popular Japanese films here always, destroy the Hollywood movies as far as the sales, so they can't justify sacrificing a screen. Oops. For a Hollywood movie. I gotta do something to make this look more less like antifreeze. I don't know. Let's see this. Oops. This. And then turn it down a little. There we go. Nice. Yeah, so I'm really curious. So next time I catch you back on stream, some empty friend, I really want to hear what you thought, like, casting and the storytelling, and, like, where they broke in the story and stuff. I mean, those, when I think back about how you would take that book and try to structure it, and take a part of the book, not even the whole book, and structure it into an interesting film, I think it's a pretty remarkable job. But if they can't make a sequel, it's going to be heartbreaking. If it's a one and done because it just didn't make enough money. I think though, I can never believe those headlines, but I thought I saw a headline that said they've already greenlit a second Dune movie. But sometimes those are total bullshit. Those headlines are just clickbait kind of nonsense. So yeah, because a lot of times you'll see the sequel greenlit for this, almost, in the article it says, well, they're really thinking about it. It really might be a thing. We want this to be a reality. So sometimes the headlines are just such garbage that you can't trust when you just see those little snippets. But I hope there's just reading the books, because once it was announced in 20, or we knew it was coming out in 2020, supposed to, I went back and reread the first 3 books, and oh my god, I want to see all of that on film. There's some crazy stuff that I hope we can get a chance. I mean, what are the what are the laser tigers gonna look like in a Hollywood film? Yeah, there's some weird stuff that's like, I don't know how they're gonna do that. But I'm really excited to see him try. Yes, there are. It's in, I think, Children of Dune. The laser tigers. Come on, that's such a pulp sci-fi sounding idea, but I think it works. I think it works well. I don't visually. It might be hard to, especially with the design, the art direction and stuff of the new Dune. It might be hard to fit laser tigers in there. Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty admirable, because for them to find a good breaking point, because then they have a lot of room to tell the story. And the exciting part of it is because Paul is already seeing his future. You're seeing what those movies are going to look like, and if they never exist, that's going to be heartbreaking, because you've already seen short little scenes from those parts. His future, he sees his future. So yeah, if they never put those full scenes on film. And I guess there was one headline I read said that they denied letting him kind of Lord of the Rings do it and shoot everything at once, because I guess they just didn't have 100% faith in the project. But they didn't let him shoot everything at once. So it may be a little, well, I guess the characters change pretty fast. Like there's jumps. There's enough time jump in the books and the storytelling, and they can help fix that a little bit more. So you may actually get different actors playing the characters, but because they've aged or they died, it'll work. It'll work okay, because then they may only exist in flashbacks and things like that, just conversations that remembered conversation and stuff. So it might work out okay. I don't know, but yeah, I think it's an admirable choice, but only if he gets to make all the movies. It's going to be terrible if they just if the ticket sales weren't enough. There we go. Cool. All right. But yeah, I've been excited for Dune for like 2 years straight now, because the RPG, the tabletop RPG, was coming out, and the new film was coming out, so a lot of things were happening all at once, and then they just all got delayed. Ridiculous. So it's been this weird suspended anticipation and happiness. It's like one of those things where you're anticipating it so much you just have to kind of try to forget about it, because it's not happening, not happening soon enough. And that's the thing we're really getting now. We know way too much about movie productions. I don't know, does that help ticket sales when it's like you've got the very early script and then it's in pre-production and the director gets attached and then they start talking about every casting decision one at a time. And I guess it's more with the TV shows, the streaming shows and stuff too. But that's making me really just prolonging this. How long can you sustain this interest, and how long is too long, or how long is actually ruining it? You just stop caring. It's just I don't care about this anymore. I don't want to even know what's going on. It just it feels very strange that they drag that out so much. We just have to know too much for too long. We have function here, maybe actually white, pure white here. Yeah. This label look a little more foil like. I'm doing way too much on this label. All right, there we go. Yeah, but I think it's well structured. I don't know. Well, I don't want to talk about anything until you've seen it and then I've seen it in IMAX. God damn. Yeah, it just sucks. That was the only thing that was comforting and I always could enjoy in LA is there's always a giant IMAX screen playing everything that's coming out that you want to see. That was really, and that's the thing. I moved to LA a little too late though, because I moved there past the day when there was all the revival houses, and basically you could see any movie, any classic movie on a movie screen anytime in LA, because there were so many movie theaters that were playing old revival stuff. You could see all the old classic film noir, or I'm sure you could see Wizard of Oz any day of the week. That was really a thing, where classic movies were just always being screened somewhere, and that just went away with I think the rise of AMC and the stadium seating and stuff, and IMAX and stuff, where they and maybe just people, it was also, we were a victim of cable television and bigger big screen TVs. People stopped thinking they had to see it in the theaters, and so those things just went away. So when I got to Los Angeles, it was the very end of that, and so I would see these amazing things. Wow, this theater is playing this and this and this, and then it just slowly just kind of disappeared. So the only real revival houses in LA are just for silent films and stuff, real niche stuff that's never gonna be shown on cable or whatever. But I just miss that era of every movie is playing all the time. That is amazing. All right. Okay, so let's do this. Let's switch over. And, oh, come on. Yeah, the chat is such a mess. All right. Oh, yeah, but Dune is going to, I guess, kind of against the director's wishes, I think it's going to be out on HBO Max very soon as well. I think it's getting both. Once all the theatrical releases are, I think the last phase is HBO Max, so that should be available for everyone very easily, but not IMAX. I mean, it's just that really does seem like a film you've got to see in IMAX. All right, enough of the whining. So here's Convenience Store. There we go. I can wait for the door chime to end. And please let me know if I screwed up the volume of that again, because it's a real piercing kind of MIDI file. Yeah, and I got it turned way down, so it shouldn't blow your ears out. But please let me know if I screwed that up. All right, so here is a Yamazaki classic. And Yamazaki is kind of like the bread company with the worst reputation in Japan, because they are the ones that pump a ton of preservatives into their into their breads and stuff. So it's like basically like Wonder Bread or whatever in the US. It's very chemical bread, so it takes, never molds. It's always good. Good, as in yeah. But so a lot of people don't like it because it's very trashy, preserved bread. But these are very classic. And or do these things have a name? Yeah, the snack pack. Yeah, the lunch pack. That's right. So this is katakana for lunch pack. Lunch pack. So lunch pack. So they're these little. I don't know if you can see. It's two little sandwiches, kind of sealed all the way around with the crust cut off. And this just happens to be. I haven't seen these in a while. The crunchy peanut butter version. They have the kind you see the most is egg salad. Ugh, room temperature. Sealed in a bag, full of preservatives. Egg salad sounds horrible. Oh, nice. But I love... Oh, and they probably do this because of nut allergies. But look, on this sandwich... So this... I think this is pretty rare. On this sandwich, they burn in a little peanut. I don't know if you can see that. But there's a little outline of a peanut. Maybe because, if they're all like this and people have... oh, here, try mine. And you have a nut allergy and you bite into... peanut butter, you're immediately going to the hospital. So maybe this is because of nut allergies, but this is the only one that they kind of put the little mark on that I've seen. So as you can see, it looks just like the middle of a piece of white bread, and it's sealed all the way around, so it's like a little pillow. And if you look inside, so like a Lunchable, basically like a square Lunchable, and if you look inside, it's full of crunchy peanut butter, and they call it peanut cream. So, yeah, it's very mediocre, like white bread, but, these things, like, last forever. So, but it's a very easy thing. I think they do, like, tuna fish and pork cutlet, and they do some other dessert ones, too. So I think there's, like, whipped cream and, like, blueberry jam and stuff inside. So there's a kind of a weird range. I think I looked on the website, and there's, like, 40 different versions or something. There's a lot of different versions. So it's easy to eat because nothing's going to drip out because it's all sealed. But they have flavors that you think should be refrigerated. They don't understand how these can be just sitting on a shelf. So peanut butter in Japan is very sweet. This is crunchy, but barely. There's like just a little bit of like, crunchy peanut in there, compared to like an American like Skippy or whatever, where it's like super chunk. But yeah, that's really, really sweet. I don't know why maybe they think it's like a dessert thing, so it needs to be sweet. But yeah, super, super sweet. So this isn't like a peanut butter sandwich you'd have for lunch in the US, packed by your mother. It's a like a dessert. It's almost like a dessert flavor because there's too much sugar in it. But it's very filling. If so I would recommend as a survival tip, if you visit Japan and you hate seafood and you're getting super disgusted and you're just hungry, you're like, fighting with the people you're traveling with because you're so damn hungry and your blood sugar is so low, these are a really good thing to grab because most of the flavors are completely palatable. There's no fishy flavors. Most of these lunch pack flavors are palatable by kind of North American tastes. And especially something like peanut butter or whatever is pretty sustaining. Like it's, good calories and fat. So it'll be a little more sustaining. So grab one of these if you look in a convenience store and you can't figure out anything to eat because it all looks very complicated and disgusting and covered with soy sauce and seaweed. This is something you can just throw in your bag. And they don't even, in the bag, they stay pretty safe because there's a little bit of an air cushion in there. So you can throw these in a backpack or whatever. And they're still going to be edible. Because they're sealed up. I don't even think if you crush these things really bad, I don't even think you could rupture break the little pillow open. And they're cheap too. $149 with tax. for just a little simple sandwich. Oh, interesting. But the expiration is pretty soon. I thought they didn't expire. I thought they were. Yeah, so this expires in 2 days. Interesting. I thought they were much more. Oh, and this is a 7-Eleven. Oh, this is a 7-Eleven limited. Interesting. The crunchy, so crunchy peanut butter you can only get at 7-Eleven. They have regular peanut butter too. But yeah, look out for the. And actually, Yamazaki makes a lot of their. People complain about the purity of them because they've got a lot of preservatives in them. But they make a lot of good flavors for like the chocolate breads and stuff. But as a survival technique, if you're traveling in Japan and you're just kind of done with sushi and trying new foods, that's a good safety thing for a portable lunch. Yeah, because I've known some people that have come here and they hate seafood, and they basically can do nothing but eat like the hamburger obento from the convenience store, and that's a pretty miserable existence because there's a lot of good food here, but I can understand kind of American or Canadian tastes. Wow, yeah, so that's pretty good. I don't know what's so special. I guess it's crunchy peanut butter is the only difference. Oh, this is very funny. And they put this on here in English too. They do a big thing of allergies. So they're talking about everything in here. So milk, wheat, peanut, and soybean is all in here. And I don't know how many parents I've talked to, Japanese parents, of Japanese kids that very early on, they're allergic to everything. They've got like 4 major allergies as little kids. And I think some of them, they grow out of some of them. But yeah, there's a lot of kids that no wheat, no dairy, no nuts, no tree nuts or whatever. That's crazy. How hard that's got to be growing up and, avoiding so much stuff. But yeah, the Yamazaki lunch pack is definitely a, a go-to for boring, inoffensive, just calories if you need to intake some sort of calories. Hey, Estrella, how's it going? Oh, nice. Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think hopefully the distribution, the kind of popularity of stuff might be picking up. Oh, that's very cool. I'll have to check that out. And so I can recommend it to friends back home. I have okay access to Asian snacks in Japan. Actually, not a lot. There are some imported like Korean and Taiwanese snacks in some of the import shops you can get, and Thailand too. We've got some pretty good imports from Vietnam and Thailand. So if you want to do like Vietnamese cooking or Taiwanese cooking in Japan, you can get pretty good. You can get like the actual ingredients from that country. But it's import shops. It's not so widespread. It's not your regular grocery store. But yeah, I don't know why there's something so special about the sorry, what does the front say? Rich. So this is supposed to be a rich, crunchy version. It didn't taste any. Maybe it tasted a little more peanutty than the regular one. It's been so long since I've had the original one. I always remember it's the peanut butter here is kind of whipped, so it's really light and it's got a lot of sugar in it, so it's really sweet. So it barely tastes like peanut butter. It's not that oily, kind of thing that peanut butter is. So maybe this is a little bit closer to that, but not much. Not really. Kinda, but not really. Oh, yeah. Oh, Estrella, I warn you, though, those things are brutal. It was still the next day. The next day, and everybody was saying, what, how much garlic did you have? Yeah, those garlic chips were brutal. They're so good. They were real. I mean, they're so garlicky. They actually burn they have a little bit of burn on your tongue because they're super garlicky, but it lasted for a long time. Yeah, they were that warning. It's not a joke. Like that was an authentic warning of how much garlic was on those chips, because I think I had like half a bag, and with dinner I still had a couple more because we had steak. We had steak that night, so I was just eating those super garlicky chips with dinner as well. And yeah, even the next day, people are like, "Whoa, seriously?" Because a lot of people that when if you go out and have the yakiniku kind of Korean barbecue, there's a lot of garlic in the sauces and things there, so you can always tell. And there's garlic in gyoza and stuff. So there's certain foods that you can tell. Oh yeah, you had garlic for dinner, but it's not a crazy amount. But this was a crazy amount. Yeah, yeah. Nice. But yeah, definitely try those. They were amazing. But don't even attempt to kiss anyone within 48 hours after eating those. Oh yeah, they were amazing. But yeah, so that's very cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at that app. I'm curious like what's available, especially because my daughter in Los Angeles is always curious, or she's not in Los Angeles anymore. She's always looking for stuff she misses from her summers in Japan. Wow. Yes. Yeah, if you love garlic, those are amazing chips. I mean, it's the closest thing to just like eating the grilled little garlic chips, like the dried garlic chips you get at the steak restaurants and stuff. It's amazing. All right. Oh, comments. Yeah, well, we'll do comments last. That might be the least interesting. I guess I was just excited to eat a peanut butter sandwich. But yeah, those that wasn't a dramatically limited edition flavor, but those lunch packs are can be a savior for you when you can't decide. When you're just like overwhelmed by the decision making and you need something quick. When you're traveling, those are very easy to deal with, and they're pretty indestructible in the little plastic bags. Cool. Well, thank you, Estrella. I appreciate that. I will definitely check that out. That's very cool. Yeah, I'm hoping more and more of that stuff. Just the increase in Japanese tourism, I was reading, has increased the distribution, at least in Asia, of a lot of snacks. Like I think I showed you once upon a time, the Gari Gari Kun makes the big ice bars with all kinds of crazy flavors, but the default one is kind of like a Dalmone blue soda Dalmone flavor. And those are insanely popular now in Southeast Asia because a lot of people have visited Japan and had those. So now the distribution is getting wider and wider. So that may start happening with with the U.S. and Europe and stuff as people come back. Those companies are big. They're big global companies able to distribute worldwide, but they just don't know the markets yet. And so the tourism will help expand or help choose which products will be successful in foreign markets. But yeah, thank you so much for the recommendation. I'll check out that app and recommend it. Oh, that's very cool. All right, so let's do some writing here before we see how how bad the writing was last week. All right. Oh, actually, let's get the keyboard where I can reach it. So the joke here was she wasn't sure. I guess it's a couple, right? If she was talking to her lid or a completely different box. So after a few, she still wasn't sure if she was talking to her lid. So lid as being partner, right? Or a completely different box. Bad relationship. All right, I'll try to take some of the extra S's out of minutes. After a few minutes, she still wasn't sure if she was talking to her lid or a completely different box. All right. After a few minutes, comma. Yeah, is there an easier way to say that? Yes, yes. Oh, nice. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's the bad part of summer ending in Japan is it's not very easy to get the glass bottles of Damune. Still, there's a lot of candies and stuff with that flavor, like all season, but the actual soda comes out only in the summertime. So yeah, with the marble, that's still amazing. That's a British invention that they just like completely adopted in Japan. That's funny. There's a lot of strange, like a lot of things link up between England and Japan, or maybe just like the business deals, maybe before they, you know, uh, like pre-war, 19th century time, they probably had a better relationship with England than they did with America. So there's a lot of interesting technologies that we never got in the US that were just kind of exchanged between England and Japan. Or maybe there was just some, aggressive people interested in trying to sell things to Japan in England that there weren't ever in America. After a few minutes, she still wasn't sure if she was talking to her lid or a completely different box. There's got to be a little bit more economic way to say that. That's pretty long. After all this time, I'll come back and see if there's a way to shorten that down. Just want to get that idea out there mostly. Okay. Oh, actually, the eyes of this guy, they need to be looking at the what's going on over here. Let's try that again. Yeah, so let's make this a little less. Oops. Just the eyes are a little more visible. There we go. All right. So whatever was in the bottle be seemed to be making the mystery bottle. Yeah, I'm saying things in a really big really running on. Oh yeah, I should. Yeah, because the next stream will be the closest to Halloween. Yeah, I'll bring some like what is Halloween in Japan. Like maybe I'll show you guys like the 100 yen store versions of Halloween decorations and things. That might be a good thing to do for stream. So the idea of candies is not our idea of Halloween candy. It's mostly like weird marshmallows and gummies. So yeah, I'll bring a little. Yeah, they'll do kind of the whole selection of that stuff, so you can really see how weird the. And the funny thing is, Halloween lasts from September. October is Halloween. So once summer starts to end and kids go back to school, that's Halloween. And because there's no Thanksgiving or anything in between, November 1st to, basically end of December is Christmas here. So it's like 4 months of these foreign holidays that don't mean anything, that just have a lot of, decoration and theming and everything, but they don't make any sense in Japanese culture. They're these very foreign looking traditions. But you basically have 2 months of each of those. So there's just Halloween stuff everywhere for 2 months. And now November 1st, there'll be just Christmas everywhere. And it's brutal because even Japanese people, by the beginning of December, they are done. They don't want to see anything more Christmas anything because they've just had a month of it. And it just keeps going and going. It's brutal. Yeah, cool. No, I'll show you everything. Yeah, so next week will be the Japanese Halloween episode, so you can see how odd. Because we were looking at a few photos of the what they were doing, what they did in Shibuya, the big kind of costume Halloween party meeting. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen this year, but we'll take another look at that, maybe some video, so you can see how crazy that can be. Yeah, we can just seem to be making him happy. Okay. Whatever was in that bottle. Whatever was in the bottle seemed to be making him pretty happy, very happy. Yeah, I don't think I need any adverbs or things that modify happy. I think that's okay. Whatever was in the bottle seemed to be making him happy. I want to say pretty happy or kind of happy, really happy. Dang. Let's see. Seem to be making him happy. Because he's smiling. Alright. After a few minutes. Okay. Maybe I don't need after a few minutes. I think I can probably say... Yeah, she still wasn't sure if... Oh, okay. If this was... Oh, okay, maybe this will work. If this... She still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. Had been talking but I'm splitting I'm ending with a preposition. That's not good. But I like that word order is a little bit better though. She still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. Still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. I guess it doesn't... Yeah, we don't have to worry about talking either. It's not that important. So, yeah, however they were interacting, she still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. Oh, just doesn't quite fit. Yeah, I think that's better. The other one's a little bit more conversational, but this is this gets the point across without too much extra. She still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. I think that'll do it. Oh, wow. LATO. I'm not sure. Not sure if I've had that before. Rato. Let me see. No, I don't think I've had that before. Interesting. I've had natto, but I haven't had dato. Interesting. Sorry, I just completely lost my window. Yeah, there we go. All right. Cool. Ah, seagrass. Interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to think what. Yeah, I've had a bunch of different. There's a lot of different seaweeds and grasses and stuff that go into salads here. I'm really bad with the names of them though, because I haven't. Yeah, but I've had a lot of good. There's kind of dried, salted seaweed you can kind of put on top for a little more texture, and then the really slimy stuff, the real stringy kind of slimy stuff, and then the stuff that is more like leaves, like larger leaves, almost like not quite lettuce, but yeah, just seaweed, I guess. I'm trying to think of the consistency, but a little more tender, a little more. Oh, that's cool. Oh, sea grapes. I'm sorry, I read that as seagrass. Sea grapes. Yes, yes, yes. I've I think I've had that before, but not. It's not not so commonly. But I bet that's good. No, I bet that's really good. Sea grapes. Very cool. Oh, caviar. Ah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. I remember somebody saying that. Yeah, no, that is. They are good. And I'm trying to think of the flavor, and I can picture them on salads, but I'm trying to think of the flavor because a lot of seaweeds and things have an interesting salty, or they try, you know, maybe in the preparation or the how they marinate them or whatever. They you know, are particularly salty to make them, give them more flavor, make them more savory. Nice. Yeah, sea grapes. Now I've had those before, and not super commonly, but I have. I remember on salads. No, that sounds good. Yeah, but there's a lot. The salads here are very interesting and fun. They have the very kind of plain, you know, kind of standard iceberg lettuce and shredded carrots and cucumbers kind of thing. But then when things get Japanese, they get much more interesting, because it is a mix of greens and seaweed. And then the dressing. I really like the Japanese style dressing. Sometimes there's like an oily kind of a little bit garlicky sesame kind of dressings that are kind of just like an oil and soy sauce, I think. And yeah, a couple of different really good styles of kind of Japanese flavor dressings that match the, you know, more seaweed and Japanese ingredients for a salad. Nice. Yeah, that's right. I have had those before. Sea grapes. That's right. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. I just Google imaged it. Yeah, it's good stuff. Definitely. Yeah, yeah. There's so much variety of stuff, and also because Japan loves to try things from other cultures and other Asian cuisines, so you'll get a lot of you know, hybrid. Just the same way like the you know, Texas Mexican border or California Mexico border, you get a lot of hybrid, you know, kind of Latin American food kind of crossover stuff. So they'll combine different ingredients and flavors and things. Oh, that's cool. So she still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. All right. Don't know why. And whatever was in the bottle seemed to be making him quite. I want a quite in there, don't I? Quite happy. Sure, 2 lines is fine. Quite happy. Whatever's in the bottle seemed to be making him quite happy. Okay. So let me just do my my shouldn't be necessary, but my spell check. I think I was saying too, this font sometimes makes words look wrong. I love this font for how it kind of matches my, like the theme or the look of the cartoon, but sometimes I'm like, that looks like it's spelled wrong, but it's not. Okay. And this other one. Okay, she still wasn't sure if this was her lid or a completely different box. Is that a space? Just one. All right. Wow. So that went pretty easy. Nothing amazing. Yeah, I was having some real trouble today. Coming up with something good. Oh well, sometimes those are, that's how it goes. Yeah, so we'll see how this gets punished in the comments. Nice. Sea grapes, very cool. Nice. Whoa. Oh, nice. Yeah, that'll be really fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that when you're anticipating a package of a bunch of yeah, new stuff. That'll be great to go through. Well, congrats. That'll be a you have early Christmas. Nice. Ah, that's very cool. All right, so let me get rid of this as well. All right, there we go. Oh, wait, and I think I still have, yes, revert. Boom, okay. Cool. Wow. Okay, we'll take a look at the how it's going in the comments section in a minute here. Let me just give these over to Go Comics so they go up on time. It's been nice since my schedule changed. I was doing Thursdays. I would be doing stuff on the day of, and now I'm doing things early, and that's nice. Everything has been going up in a timely manner. I don't have stuff delayed or anything, because it makes a big difference how many people see things when they go out into their email, and my cartoons go into their email, as opposed to if they just have to go back and find them. Nice. All right. Well, cool. Well, let's see what Go Comics looks like. Oh, right, the paper bag. Yeah, I still think I should have gone with. Oh, yeah, it just went out, so nobody has seen it yet. Let's switch over real quick. Comments. Oh no! I gotta change the. Yeah, my displays got all screwed up. I thought I had this sorted. My displays got all screwed up. Okay. How do I... Oh, there it is. So this is 1, 2, 2. Yes. Okay. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, my... I had a crash and a Windows update, which is two things you don't want to do one after the other. And so my tablet got all screwed up. All right, so here, this is the Go Comics website. So if you want to go and read the huge archive, and it's pretty well presented. You can look here. They do the calendar type thing, so you can go back all the way. So I started with these guys. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. 2004, I started with them. I was drawing the cartoon from 2002 as a daily cartoon, and Go Comics didn't find me until a couple years later. So then I just gave them my weeklies starting in 2004. So you can go all the way back to that. And so this is today's cartoon, but it just went out. So nobody has really seen it yet, but I'll mark it so I remember that I actually looked at it. And then we'll go back to yesterday, or not yesterday, the 14th. There we go. So October 14th, they had finally blurred the line between cosmetics and art supplies. Oh, 16 likes, 3 comments. They were all purchased by RuPaul. It was art indeed. I know this is not PC, but I laughed out loud. Oh, thank you, thank you. All right. Let's go back one more. So here is the one that was probably missed. No, I think I saw this one as well. Yeah, I did. So the fancy new condiments still couldn't help the terrible food. You can... Oh, no. You can dress them up, but you can't make them taste better. Dijon ketchup. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Lord made the food, the devil made the cooks. Oh, there we go. Nice. All right. And I think we saw all of these before. Yeah. Yep. Useless, but once out treasures. That's right. So despite being inedible or useless, they could still enjoy their shiny packaging. All right, let's try a couple of randoms. You can see how deep and weird this archive goes. So here you can tell this is back in the kind of hand-drawn days. So the line width is different and kind of the rawness and the wonkiness of the drawing is there because I don't fix it. There's very little editing I did of the line work in Photoshop, so this is all the marker drawing. So I don't know why the shadows are so deep under the tape. It looks a little floaty. If he tried to fix everything he thought was wrong, the roll of tape would use himself up. Wow, yeah, 2006. It was a couple years before I had regular readers. All right, 2021. I did this one on stream, definitely. Dead bug on stream. All right, so I'll just mark these with a like so I see all the stuff I saw randomly before. To the last fly. Bug spray ain't what it used to be. Might be a good thing though. By the second can, they were they were convinced they'd face some sort of final boss, a very powerful fly. Yeah, here's another hand drawn. You can see. Oh, hey Joe, how's it going? Sorry, I just saw you there. Good to see you. So the bitterness came from sugar's refusal to mix. Yeah, that was the strange thing. My mother would always, when we were little kids, because my dad was a student when we were little kids still, so we were pretty broke, and she used to try to save money by putting less sugar in like the Kool-Aid or Flavor Aid or Welch's or whatever, instant drink she bought, but she didn't realize that the sugar has to fight the bitterness of the powdered flavor. Like if you didn't put sugar in it and you just put it straight in, it's insanely bitter. It's just red or purple or whatever. And the sugar is what gives it the flavor, any sort of flavor. And so she would cut the sugar, like if it was like 2 cups or whatever, she'd put like 1.5 cups or 1 cup. And it was horrifying, like extra water, more water than there should be, and less sugar. And it was just not even, you saw the red color and you got happy, and then, oh, what is this? Yeah, just red, bitter water. So that's where that stupid idea came from. All right, 2014, the electric light had become expensive, unrecognizable nonsense. Yeah, that's right, the LED strips now. All of the poor the poor regular light bulbs. What electric light doesn't know that in 20 years the electric light will be a collector's item? Yeah, right. Yeah, there's some bulbs you can't even buy anymore. Don't get me started on utility bills. My own electricity solar can't buy. Oh, I make my own and can't buy a decent light bulb. Interesting. Wow. That's a weird situation to be in. All right, a couple more here. I said 2006. Yeah, another early one. A Band-Aid in a wastebasket. January 7th. The bathroom wastebasket felt he would never be rid of the used Band-Aid. Just kind of stuck to him. All right. Yeah, 2003 is when that was drawn. Packing a lunchbox with dirt was less than subtle domestic protest. Was a less than subtle domestic protest. Oh. So somebody made a miserable lunch. All right, one more. 2012. Oh, there we go. Something with some action in it. August 30th. Wow, this one must have gone out late. At least all of this happened at the beginning of the meal. So the salad and wine, yeah, went flying. All right. Yeah, I like these. I like the drawings that have some action and dynamic motion in them. I don't draw as much of them as I should. I guess I should start thinking about that a little bit more, because a lot of stuff is just, stationary little confrontations and things, but I like the table flipping look of some of these. Look at that amazing cucumber. Spooky slime wine. Yes, it's thick and slimy. Nice. Nice. Yeah, so those are some of my favorites. Like like a flying piece of cake or something that's like hit a wall or something like something that's splatted against a wall. I like the more dynamic look of that kind of stuff. But if I did it all the time, then that would be the look of the cartoon. So I guess a little balance in all of that. All right. So yeah, so I guess the comments are going okay. We'll see. We'll see if that continues next week. Nice. Yeah, the super. I was thinking like melon or mint liqueur, like those really weird bright green liqueurs that they have. Yeah, what? Yeah, I think it's mostly those strange flavors. And then here they have, of course, like matcha, like green tea liqueur. Oh man, well, good to see you, Joe. Glad you stopped by, and I appreciate as always you being on Fridays too. That helps a lot. Yeah, you and K5 make that chat for the weekly live thing we do really nice. I think some people have found a home there because you guys were so welcoming. I really appreciate that. That's a great thing because it's so hard to actually go through because we have such a limited time on Chris's lunch. It's hard to pay attention to the chat and actually get through all the like the news topics and stuff. So when people come in and out early on, before you guys, when people would come in and out, they would just listen for a while and come out, no comments, nothing. And because you guys are there, kind of welcoming people in and being running as mods, so nobody can disrupt things. That's very cool. I appreciate it. Yeah, very much. You guys are great. But yeah, let's see. Is there anything else for this week? Yeah, very cool. All right. So yeah, from Estrella's recommendation, I will definitely do that. So next week will be the Halloween stream. We'll do a convenience store stuff. Will all be what what Japan thinks is Halloween, which is pretty funny. It's very different from I think what other and I guess like America is really the only country that like really gets into Halloween. Japan is trying for like 20 somethings. They're kind of starting to enjoy it as a drinking and like zombie holiday. But a lot of other countries like I've heard in like Europe and England and even Canada, it's kind of like yeah, they don't. It's not a big deal. But yeah, some places, some houses in the neighborhoods and stuff I lived in went crazy doing the graveyards in their front yards or doing a haunted house. I've had neighbors that like you literally they put up this whole thing so all the way up their driveway into their garage and then like out the door, like the side door of their garage is a haunted house that they run and have kids like so you get your candy at the end but you have to get through the haunted house. Yeah, it's mostly just like black garbage bags and stuff, but it's still pretty cool. I have a lot of fun memories of that stuff as a kid. Oh yeah, no problem, Joe. No, I appreciate having you guys there. Yeah, sorry if it's not always that interesting what we're talking about. But yeah, so the other channel is Upturned Table, and we do the live stream of the kind of weekly news show, and then so I've started doing just kind of answering questions from chat after we do the recording of the podcast because there's not really time while we're streaming because we've only got by the time Chris gets there we've got between 30 and 40 minutes to actually like get through everything and still sometimes we're rushed but that's good. That's very cool. So next week will be Halloween. I'm trying to think if there's something else. I'll take a look because there might be some other odd Halloween thing or the interesting thing. This is not fall is not the kind of ghost stories and scary season in Japan, which is funny because Halloween is death and everything is like all the leaves are falling and the trees are bare and it's starting to get cold and everything. So it makes a lot of sense for me. But in Japan, I guess because of a few different factors, but their summer, their kind of Day of the Dead holiday is in August, of course, and so that's the ghost season for them. So they expect to see ghosts in summer, in hot summer. Hot summer nights are like ghost season for Japan, and maybe a lot of Southeast Asia. I think because they have brutal summers because it's kind of a almost tropical heat, and so it's very different. But they do have some pretty cool ghosts, and things like the yokai in Japan are pretty amazing. So yeah, right. Yeah. So Joe, for the weekly, I've started trying to answer things at the end, because questions kind of come up during the thing. But if I stop for questions, then maybe we would only get to one or two things per week, which might be a better structure. I don't know, because then it would be more dynamic, like more back and forth, to just have one or two topics. But then again, then I'm worried I pick boring stuff if I limit myself. Yeah, that stream. The only reason Chris can do that stream is just because it's lunch. It's the lunch break time, and Chris's office is super close to my office. It wasn't originally, but the company moved, and so we were having lunch together, and we are having kind of fun conversations, and then realized, well, why don't we just make this part of the podcast that we were working on, because we were doing like a longer form podcast, but it was taking a long time to produce, so we didn't have weekly episodes. We had like maybe monthly episodes, and it wasn't developing much of a following, but the weekly thing helped a lot, and so Chris really makes that easy to do, and it's a much better to have it a conversation when we're talking about news topics and stuff, because we both have kind of different takes or different likes and dislikes about stuff, so it makes it more interesting for a discussion. But so Japanese yokai are fun. I'll see if there's any fun stuff, and definitely there's video of Shibuya, so we'll run some weird video of Shibuya Halloweens, the Tokyo version of Halloween, in the background when we do the convenience store candy stuff. So I'll try to find some weird stuff between now and then, so you can see how silly. Yeah, it's kind of famously a Japanese American wrote a novel about visiting Japan, and how feeling kind of it was very Americanized because he grew up in America, but coming back to Japan, that was his culture, but he's not part of the culture because he didn't speak and didn't have the same, wasn't educated in Japan and things. And so he said the thing that was the funniest thing that he saw, and this was in the 80s, I think. So the 80s in Japan, when they were first adopting Christmas, one of the decorations in the department store was Santa Claus, like a little stuffed Santa Claus, but he was like crucified on a cross, because they knew it was a Christian holiday, and they knew they were Santa Claus, but they didn't understand like how the two things made sense. Like they didn't know how they went together. So some of the department store decorations, and completely like they weren't trying to make a comment. It wasn't like, trying to be edgy or funny or anything. They're just like, oh, right, so it's Christ, and Christ is always depicted on the cross, and there's Santa, so maybe we'll put Santa on the cross. And so that was a decoration in the 80s in Japan, is crucified Santa Claus. So it's very very funny. But Japan has those interesting mistranslations and like misunderstandings of foreign culture, because you can see the things that they're obviously attracted to. There's some aspects that, wow, this is so foreign, we like this because of this quality, or some part of it. But when they try to bring the whole thing into Japanese culture, or into just the consumer, into their consumer culture, it sometimes gets really weird. Yeah, and flavors and foods and stuff too. Sometimes they do really strange stuff. Yeah. Very, yeah, very lost in translation. Yeah, Japan is really, really good at that for some reason. It's just, I think, because they have a lot of enthusiasm for foreign things, and that when they research or study about something, it's very specific. Like it's not in a broader sense. So there's some things that get very confused, and also their sensibility. Like you see that in language or how what English they think is interesting, or how they will, if they want to name something, give something an English title, like what words they think sound good in English and how they don't, really go together. If they're trying to like name cafes, or there's a lot of like, yeah, funny restaurant and like boutique names that when they choose English, it's like, oh, these are cool English words, but only to their ear or only to their kind of cultural perception. But from the native English speaker, it's like, wow, that's really bizarre. Yeah, very funny. All right. But yeah. So look forward to that next week. We'll do Halloween in Japan. Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, that'll give me a chance to look for some wacky stuff that I don't normally look for. So sometimes, like when my wife had a classroom and stuff, we would decorate. I'd help her decorate for holidays, so Halloween or Christmas for the little kids. But I haven't done that in a long time. But there's always the 100 yen, the dollar stores basically here are always have like weird little trashy ornaments and stuff. So you'll enjoy how odd some of those things are. So cool. So that'll do it for this week. I'll finish up now, and thanks everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate the you guys in the chat. That's always fun. And yeah, take care. And yeah, I hope people are doing okay. So some empty friend. Yeah, I hope you're doing good. And we got to talk about Dune. I hope you get to see that over the weekend. And yeah, I definitely want somebody to talk about that with. And it's not here yet, so I gotta. Or I mean, it just got last weekend. It just came to Japan, but most of the screenings are dubbed, and I don't want to see Japanese dubbed. Timothée Chalamet is not going to sound good in Japanese. I'm curious though, like who they've cast as the voices, because it's always very ridiculous. Like anybody with a beard has a really deep gravelly voice, and any little boyish looking character will have a very silly childish voice. So it may be funny just how it was cast, but not very listenable, not very fun to watch. All right. But yes, thank you. Yeah, have a good night, everyone. And yes, look forward to Halloween. It'll be Halloween afternoon in Japan. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And abusecartoons.com is the website. And of course, Abuse Cartoons on both YouTube and Twitch if you want to subscribe to get notified when this goes live. And patreon.com/abusecartoons if you want to support the stream and support the cartoons, and maybe get it to grow a little bit, because it's kind of stuck at like two cartoons a week and one live stream a week. So I'd love to do more. So there'd be needs to be a good excuse. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, Estrella and Joe, thank you guys. Good to see you. And some empty friend and Boris Johnson music was in at the beginning. And Bill Wilson. Nice. I have a feeling some of those are the same people. All right, so everybody take care. And the raid too. Lil Bill on the raid. Sorry about my emote only Twitch Twitch chat. That was an accident. So take care everyone, and I'll see you next week. Until then, and yeah, so some Halloween for you guys next week. So goodbye.